That's 1 o'clock. Guess we can come out and recess, but we won't do anything till we are fully staffed here. I guess do we need to move and have the meeting back in session? Or do we just come back in session? Okay. Okay, well, we're out of recess back into regular session, but we're a man short here and that's all right. He does a lot of other stuff, just got sidetracked. Get your dog, appreciate getting fed and watered. What kind of dog do you have? Is that a little dog? Yeah. Is that a yipper? Is that what he's, the sound?
He doesn't want one.
Yeah.
So full of it. Yeah.
What is it about those little dogs? They just like to jump around and everything they do is quick.
We bring them all around. So. So fun.
You go. Yes, allergies and vitamin.
No, tummy power.
Oh, allergy. I was way off. Hopefully not long, because we've done our end of the month meeting, right? The minutes and everything. Tonight, I think we just. What do you guys think? I mean, we're gonna have public input. Essentially, tonight's meeting will just be about budget stuff. Do we want to try for, let's have a 7 o'clock. Is it 7 o'clock long enough?
What do you mean, have it shut off by then?
Yeah,
I think that's what it looked like.
let's go to 7 o'clock and I think I'll extend the same offer to people that we'll close out of the meeting, but if they want to stay and talk to us individually, we can stick around. Lost my voice. All right. I didn't eat anything. I'm too worked up to eat. You stayed here and worked, and you were on the phone, so you probably didn't eat either.
Oh, I ate a little bit.
Okay. All right, now, get me back where we were, get me back on track. Where'd we leave off? Working elections, we didn't get off that one, huh?
So. We figured up here. All these things. Do it from the health department. Go down through it, everything except the general budget and taking out all the rest of them. Like 16 mils or something, and except for the thing that employee benefits was 2 mils higher. But that actually came out 1.43 less, so basically all that stuff is just 2 mils difference. Including the employee benefits.
So
So,
what are you saying?
so they're not. We're not gonna gain a lot or lose a lot either way. I mean, they're pretty much set.
What are you telling me? If you leave certain departments just where they are,
Well, what I'm trying to say is, we need to talk about. The employee benefits, the road department, the sheriff's department.
because that's where the opportunity for cuts exist. Okay, well, so the can of worms I've never opened up was the sheriff's. And also don't feel real qualified there to do that. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be looked at. Rich will know more on that one.
Just look around the other counties. They're about the same. Nemaw County is about the same price we are. They don't have a third of the cases we. do. This is just, I mean. So. Are you gonna sacrifice 24-hour patrol? Don't care about that.
I think I usually have someone on call, but I'm not sure you need somebody down now.
You got somebody shooting you in the middle of the night and you're waiting 30 minutes for somebody to get there. I mean, I'm just saying that one of the things we went to was, it took a long time to get there. I worked when we were on call at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then down there, you always got called out every night.
I did my budget work. And I didn't make any changes to the sheriff. I think we moved some stuff around because. I figured that was a fight for a later day, and I just wasn't, I didn't make any plans on that bill. I had zero idea.
Originally, I didn't cut it too much, but then I just, this last time, I just put it back to where it was last year.
I think we ended up cutting 25 and 11 and 9, so we took
all the raises.
45,000. We took the raise. That's what we did,
Right.
and then we didn't really do anything else.
So I just went back to 2025 and thought they made it to this year and maybe if there's no raises and no things aren't increasing drastically in the economy, maybe we can make it on about the same.
But unless we get specific, if we just say, here's the money, just make it work, and I guess we could do that. But without some specific savings, I don't see how we can do that and look them in the eye. I mean, I guess there's always a way. So we talked about some stuff with, maybe there's some training. Is there some optional training in their budget that? I mean, can we get away from some of that? I have no idea.
40 hours a year for every. Yeah.
Okay, so see, you know things that I don't know. But
40 hours a year training for every deputy, mandatory.
all right, and how we got to the sheriff, I don't know. Let's
Well,
let's say where we were. But Bill, go ahead.
Also. So I talked to Tammy. And she said we spent $300,000 for rock last year. This time to about the end of April.
How much?
300,000. And now we have $1,500,000 left now. $1,500,000 left now. As of
Okay,
today.
but we've got a part-time guy hauling rock right now, so that number keeps getting bigger, right? So if we're gonna make some changes to next year, we can shut that guy off.
He's not. My guy's not all off.
Whatever, just
But-
some guy.
But that, she thought that was the total amount we needed for the year.
Okay, we've got 4,000 ton in stock, is what I understood with in piles already. Approximately.
Anyway, so. So what I'm trying to say is, I guess, at the end of 2024, we had $1 million left. And we had a budget of $3,761,000. So we had $1 million left over last year. So I think we could get by with the same budget, same amount we had last.
But doesn't that show?
We did 400,000 extra out of the budget, most things like that, so that takes that down to 600,000. So we took out of the road and bridge.
Yeah, that was,
Took out all-
that was before we took all that out.
But doesn't that show, Bill? I mean, doesn't that show here that we had this million, but we're not taking the expenses out, so we're burning through it.
But if we had that left over last year, why won't we have that much left over this year?
Because it's left over in the cash. It's not, it doesn't reflect the spending is. We may have we had 850,000 at the end of this year. That's right. But see, we made the budget at 4 million. We're still gonna spend $4 million, but we're only gonna collect 2.48 in the. We're only gonna collect 2.5 in the tax. We're just not collecting enough money. We're not. We're
Yeah,
spending
so-
more than we're taxing.
Okay, I go.
So the million we're saving, last year it was $1.8 million, and then the year before it was 2.6, that's the money we still had left over. We just wrote that thing down to zero. Is that the way everybody understands? And that's the way I understand it.
That's what I mean. Last year, we took the 800,000 and 400,000 out of the budget, and the year before, we gave back. Pretty close to that too, I mean, we gave back.
But if we had that much to take out last year, why won't we, and we have the same, start with the same amount, why won't we have that much to take out this time?
Because we've got that cash figure in our budget. We've
Our
got-
budget for this year, it started out 400,000 less than it did the year before, because we cut 400,000 out of it. We adopted last year was
it is extremely difficult to see this thing, but if you say we got $1.5 million left over, well, that's great. We've got it in cash.
That's what we got now.
Okay,
Right,
okay.
Alright.
well,
So
No, this
We-
works. Actually, it's beautiful because we're gonna collect $2.5 million in tax. That's what we're gonna collect in for this tax year. That's what we got, 2.516, and that's how it gets to zero. Because we're gonna spend 4 million. So there's 4 million. That's what it adds up to. What we got left over plus what we're gonna tax adds up to exactly 4 million. And we're gonna spend 4 million and we end up with zero. Isn't that right?
but that's what we have right now, but that's not where we're gonna end up though.
yeah, but we're not gonna spend. Shouldn't have to spend that much, we should have 1 million left. Cause if you have a 1.5 million now, you take our,
Alright, so we're gonna cut off the rock hauling?
well, you can haul $300,000 rock. That really is 20,000 for tables.
Right, now we have one, big line, brokerage cap. So,
Okay.
so, we said $1.5 million.
That number is not accurate.
Well, that's what she came up with. On my,
Are you looking in the weekend in front?
I know.
anyway. It's in last month we had. Should have had 1,580,000. Like, have 1,512.
That's in capital improvement.
No, that's, well,
That's total.
no, actually, here we are. 1,523,000, now we're at 1,512.
Just to put it down. They're gonna fund it.
So I don't see quite right.
It's
That's
budget.
all.
The number he looked at was budget.
Anyway. All right, go back to where you're at.
That's, okay, all right. Now, that was a good. Get us back in the work mode. We were on the clerk and the election. All right, so we talked about this. I guess if what was proposed is not acceptable. What do you guys propose? To counter that? I had the clerk, we made no change in contractual or commodities, we just left everything the way. So the only really item, I mean, we can look at those, items, but the only thing is salaries.
So. Why not proposing to change anything in there? That's for $166,000. Budget $166,000.
You left it the same. So does that, if we jump over to elections, did that change that? Did your category for elections turn into something different? Direct election. Cause there would be,
Up there, same deal, 25,000.
$125,000. Why is that different from what it says here? It says 153. What am I looking? I'm looking at the budget sheet. And on the proposed budget year for 2026, we see he's got it at 153,851. And we're posted at Or we proposed
so
one
it- So it
twenty-five.
has 28,771 in cash reserve. Yep.
Yes, it would. So are we trying to generate 28,000? Wonder where that came from. Be an easy cut. Is that what the math looks like?
Yep.
Yeah, 125,080, you're exactly right.
So. Good. Or off.
Somehow we got in that column that we wanted to build 28,771 in cash, but that's not necessarily the case. So in direct election. If we go over here and we make this a 0,
So which one you looking at for your time?
that. Am I looking at it right?
That's on the front page.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the clerk here.
On the wall.
Yeah, we moved over to election. Page. Page.
You know, we took 80 over. Yeah, so so it was. We had $125,080. That makes it come up. You,
So that's gonna change that figure.
so 125,080 plus your 28,000, so 71 there it comes out.
Exactly that number. Yeah. That just got put in there for some reason. I don't know why. Wow, that's an eighth of a mil. Good job.
That's
Okay. But essentially on our budget sheet where we see. Yeah. You know, But on this page, we still have it correct. It just got transferred over incorrect, right? On this page,
Yeah, that's.
this page we're right. But this page I'm looking at in this budget, it's incorrect. So by a stroke of luck, we got $28,000 out, right? Okay. All right, that's good. So. Sticking it together. Okay. All right, now, so now we've got two that are saying, Rich, what do you say?
Or keeping it the way it's been proposed.
yeah. $80 per hour.
What's your own election in Clinton?
No,
It's an election.
that's just the election.
Yeah, it's election. What'd you say about the clerk? You want to sound? The total, I guess.
The total I'm all right with.
Okay, so at reaping the world, which you fully, I mean, I think you,
The clerk was $166,000.
but I want everyone to know too, that, I mean, if that happens, when we anticipate that happening, but the option is there for anybody else who wants to do that.
So. Can we change the salaries without changing the? the total amount. You know, rearrange it so it's somewhere else or
You wanna,
like you were saying, Rick.
I don't know, we mean,
Well, instead of increasing it. Pay it out some other way. I mean, it's the same thing and I don't know, it just shows up on paper, didn't it?
Yes.
I'm gonna do it this time. I don't look at the back of my head, but that's okay. I like being between you guys. It makes you hard to talk to. It makes it hard to talk to. Just sit over here. Okay, so Bill, you were saying that there was a way to somehow account for election work? Didn't pay for that?
Their boss, I'm asking more of a question.
All right, where we at? Doing some math.
It's a matter of if you take it out of the election, but. You have to remember, right now, even though people in the position of that job. That job is still being paid the same down here right now, so we have to say anything else. We cost ourselves.
So why, that's a great point. Why did
So, not, so,
everything's connected here? Why? How were we able to do that? We take someone from the deputy election clerk to full-time road and bridge secretary,
was there before, and we moved her from the road and bridge and split the duty, because
road and bridge isn't enough for a full-time secretary.
it comes and goes, but it's probably more on the line of the traffic that's in her office. Day in and day out to the road and bridge. It's too distracting, it's a mess. With all the people that come into road and bridge, from the foremen to the people, from,
Okay,
traffic through the office.
okay. So
It's a
then,
nightmare, I mean, it is.
okay, so if I go to road and bridge, I'll see where they're in. I'll see that salary. Yeah. everything's sideways on road and bridge.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you split it 50-50 then.
So we didn't, so we gotta put 22 down on that. It's not
You got it. Okay, so that's excellent.
Also, but now we have. That's for all service insurance for, each district has personnel service, then you have administration personnel services for 80,000. Yeah. Okay.
That's when you're, project.
All right, I think that one, if that's what it is, you know, my intention, if we do this, and again, I think we're probably 2-1 on this. But if we combine, one of the foreman positions will essentially be elevated. What I mean is, we don't need 3 foremen. We're not gonna cut anybody's pay, but instead of paying a foreman 55,000. You know, you're gonna bump that figure. You only have 2 of those at that level, and there still needs to be some sort of hierarchy. You know, but the road and bridge supervisor would just make more money. And I had figured, 10 or 15,000, but we put in there 80, that's fine. So in reality, we're only spending like 15 versus last year. Does that make sense?
We didn't add,
Didn't we add 80 in there? That's what I see. But how we got the road and bridge? We didn't get
everything.
done. They're all tied together.
Well, we never did add anything back into the road and bridge for. To go to our road and bridge supervisor.
Well, this is on this fund page. It says administration, personal services. It's got proposed of 80,000. So it's in there. Whether we did it or not, it's in there. And everybody's salaries should be. I mean, all the salaries should be in there. Right, yeah, well,
I figured that would probably. I don't know if that was in it or not, I can't. I didn't think it was ever put in there.
well, it's in on the budget sheet regardless whether we meant it to be or not. It still shows up there, right? Because don't we add all these numbers up to get to this? I think so. Nikki, do we add all these numbers up here to get to this? Okay, so it's whether we want it to be there or not, it's there.
All together, it's like 500 some dollars.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Oh, no, that's all. The bold 4 million is just the sum of the bold numbers above it. So the resources available. What does that actually mean?
The payable, it's like. Go back to that other budget, and that's from what's left over, what's taxed. $100,000 from last year plus your taxes.
from your cars and stuff. As like the main problem.
It's a, it's 160,000, right? What is?
Church garage.
Just wonder where it came from. You guys, Nikki saw it. Kevin won't be able to make it to tonight's meeting. So he won't be there. All right. So again, we got back to road and bridge. But we need to get back to clerk. And to Rich's point, he's exactly right. We've just shuffled some money around. We did save it, but we can address that in road and bridge. Which is. We just, the show game goes on. I think. Pages out. Okay, to the clerk. All right, what say you? I think I've explained my logic, I hope in an understandable fashion. I'm good with the numbers as they said. Bill, if I understood you right, you're good with the numbers. As they said, is that correct?
And 66 hours.
Okay. Okay, since the two are related, are you okay with the direct election? 125,080. And you see trouble ahead.
I see trouble hitting the keys.
But I agree, but he changed the salary there, that isn't gonna be trouble.
Well, it's more of a personal wage scale thing, so. You're not approving wage scale today.
That's what I think.
It's so, we gotta make it, I mean, we're approving the money into the budget, so there's money in there for raises. There's money in there for raises in your department, for your,
But when Don has that, so they don't hit it, one person almost like. For that. It's just a line item, I don't think they know. It was getting,
What line item? I'm sorry.
the personnel, then we're not putting the wage together, but so if you don't wanna do it at raises and that's okay, fine. But we're just trying to do a line item, or I thought that's because they not approving the wage scale.
I hope not.
Included it, that was my explanation for it, but.
My vote is to do it as presented. That's what I want.
That's what.
My vote was just to approve it as presented. But that's a wage scale change. I mean, I guess, I'm sorry, I left and got a drink.
what she's asking is if we're gonna pay out the direct collection, if it's a line item like we do, Sean. Correct.
That's what I'm saying, that's why each project said.
That would mean it would be the direct election would be back to its original amount. The 2 months that were taken out of there would go back up into Well, the clerk's budget would remain the same as it was last year as far as the hourly wage and the extra pay would come out of the clerk's, out of the elections for when we're doing election.
But the end result would be the same.
The end result.
Whatever's most efficient is what I would say we do. But that's just, and you're right, we've been at this long and it's very delicate because you're right here, but I appreciate you being here and answering our questions. We have some. Okay, are we just moving on? Are those two, can we check them off?
What are you gonna, are we, you're checking off, then we're leaving the raise and leaving everything like it. What I'm saying is that if we keep their pay the same as what they made last year, but since they are taking over elections, then that will be extra pay that will come out of elections. Versus their base pay going up, they will just receive the extra pay for them when they're doing the duties with the election. That'd be just like what you get with your pay a year.
So what,
This was not just for one, the other end. Well, that was kind of. Lot process, but how we would do it. Then all
what's the, is it a distinction without a difference though? Is running it through the way you want to do it? What does that change salaries? Does that just change the pot of money? What's? But it,
that all from all. You know, that that.
yeah.
So salary you're getting now, say in the general fund. And we have it come out of the any increases or whatever.
But materially. Doesn't change anything. I mean, the total money, the total spend is still the same.
Well, let's see what's on our.
Yeah. And so the rationale for doing it a different way than presented is.
Tammy, back to Rosewood. How long was Tammy in your office? She had there a year. Half of it. Before that. When did you leave her like first with that? July 23 till back up 6 months.
Yeah. Silence. Cricket's here. So was it a 4-person department and then it became a 3-person department and then it became a 3.5-person department? And now it's gonna be back to 3. That's
So
the,
from 23 to 6 months back, it was the 3-person department. And then it went to 3.5, now it's back to where it was before Tammy moved in at that time.
all right. Any idea what that doesn't matter. It's fine. Okay,
So my only question back here, if we pay for it out of the election, do we need to transfer our fee up of large from one to the other? So the total the same? Well, the total between your office and the direct elections. But if you're getting paid. You just pay, you already get some out of the direct election anyway, right?
For myself, yeah, that's the paper.
Right. So. It's just a bookkeeping question. It's not. I think we can figure that out somehow.
Are you satisfied with the bottom numbers? I mean, are we, we're not, okay, so I'm a county clerk, is the change, is 154, 140 where it's gonna be? And then 7760 and then 4100, are they all the same? 166 is the same. And if you fold over and go to the general election, the fund page here that I'm looking at is on page 9. And the only change we made there was eliminating that 287071, made it a 0, which changes to 125,080.
Wait a minute, you're on the page
It's page 9 is what I see
on the direct elections,
under direct election.
you change what?
We eliminate the cash reserve, take that to 0, which changes the total expenditures
Okay.
to 125,080. All right, so that was a mistake, a transfer of numbers, but we did in effect save. We did, at least on this sheet. Which this is in-house. Scott would have had all this stuff. I mean, in effect, we saved $28,771. All right. Okay, county treasurer. And I think just randomly, let's go to 3:30. And that'll give everybody a little time to close out their day and get gathered up to go back at 5:30. Okay? Is that all right? Let's see, and that'll be a hard stop. Middle of the sentence, we're done. All right. County treasurer salaries. I have. Came up with 272 final. She asked for 284, so that's the $12,089 cut. That comes from our salary raises. That's all it was. Everything else is just the same. Okay, so this is one of those times where, I mean, budget 40, I guess. I mean, I'd like to see the treasurer's office come down, at least an employee. I just put it out there. And I would advertise if we kept the same job duties. I mean, I know she came in and we need to talk to her, to listen to her, but I'd like to implement some sort of raise, but keep every duty. Motor vehicles is important to people. The driver's license office is important to people, I meant to say. But I think we could do it. I think but I don't work there every day either. Let's skip it to where we're not, because I think we need to. Well, here you go. Are you guys on board with cutting positions? I mean, it's real simple. If you are, we can talk to her, and if you're not, then I'm on my own and we just roll on. We can skip through that.
They can be cut, I'm gonna, but
Well, I think this is where I heard that
Absolutely.
ask her, but I'm thinking that they need to justify why she thinks she needs to stay, or she thinks she could go back. She is an elected official, she has some say, so in her department.
Right.
So, I mean. And we're just talking about one, or we're talking about one out of that, or two out of that department.
I had up to two. Two's big, but
I mean, that's where, you know. She's up for, come on there.
okay. Can we use you for an example? Okay. And then a deal like this,
Example, but not a perfect example because. She's only in there, having been there for a half year, so that she can still do it like she could.
but if they had four and they went to three, isn't that right? I mean, they went through a time period where they had four and went to three and then added a half person back.
Yeah. 2 years later.
Because, that's what we have. They're not.
She quit, and so you found a way to do it. I don't know, guys,
That's how you do it, you get very good some magic books, and you know.
I don't want to do that. I mean,
No,
it's,
That was.
it was a joke, I know, I've said a few of those and I wish I could tell.
I think she's been doing, her budget's been pretty consistent, so.
I think so too.
Big one.
Well, and that's okay, because although it won't affect I don't want to ramrod anything where we don't have the power to ramrod. We could change that budget and then just say deal, right? But nobody, I mean, I don't really want to do that. To an elected official, I don't think that's probably very good fit.
I think as far as today, but
Should we just go with it? Okay, let's skip it. Let's go to the county attorney. He's not here, but this was a little odd anyway, because we come up with a number and the salaries, and I don't remember doing a lot of that.
Well,
Yeah.
Said. Use out of this account. But what, the budget was 3 5. Get me with the four. I got a raise,
Oh.
so now it's. That's why it looks like it's kind of small from the budget because. If you have a really good. Really no raises to this year of 91, then I would use anything for the actual.
Okay, so his wage didn't reflect the 2.5%. 50. So when I see the wages he asked versus the wages that were, I see him,
That 181. So,
yes,
okay, so, that's accurate for this year, but the budget that was done in. Before the pull up and for.
guess you can just look up for you.
Yeah, I have a screenshot and it's fine. Yeah, that would be fine, very quick, that was one thing. There's.
meetings that go this long are not productive. That's the truth. We're not as sharp as we were before lunch. But just some observation. So my intention with county attorney was to keep the wages exactly the same. I think after doing enough research and making enough phone calls, I think we are, as our county prosecutor and the sync counselor, we're probably about where we need to be on wages, but I think if a guy was gonna do it all, we're a little behind. That's why I've been advocating to try and find a county counselor for us. I mean, no secret, I guess, I'd like to contract with Parker, Austin Parker. I think he'd be a pretty good fit. But we're also gonna, I mean, I hope so, we're gonna look at this Clinda Osterman to help on the tax thing. So we're actually taking things off of Kevin's plate. And he still has that. He's the sync counselor for Ashland County. That doesn't show up in our budget. You know, I guess I'm satisfied leaving the wages just like they are for them, but I'm operating on the understanding we're actually gonna spend a little bit of money. It's gonna cost us $36,000 for a county counselor if we go that way. Or it's gonna cost us, and I don't know what the tax thing is gonna cost, but we gotta get that thing taken care of. And I mean, I saw the proposal, I think she'll have more information, it's like $250 parcel. To engage that, which I assume is gonna add up to be a lot of money, isn't it? I don't know how many we got on the books.
There's a part of, you know, the next one.
So, didn't she say something about if the sale didn't cover the cost? She would, you say or something? Or I don't know if that's a original. That.
Past experience. Majority of them never sell.
Right.
Because there's too much against them.
And she puts another $250 on there.
There you go.
That's it.
Kevin gets done with this one, he gets us up to only 2 years. That worked out, right?
And that means we need to get fire right back up.
Because then we wait till next year, we'll get 3 years delinquent for 2 years. We're just, because we can only do it in taxes done 3 years out. So he's catching us up to where everybody's only 2 years out, next year people will reach 3 years.
So you know that for certain, or is that a question?
I thought that's what he said, it's just with that 2 year, it's already caught up in years. Because we can only do it after 3 years.
My understanding, and I guess that's why, is she still on the docket for the agenda for next Monday? Tuesday, yeah, I'm sorry, Tuesday.
Everybody's been working on it for a couple of years, I mean. Happy.
Probably the difference is they have more people, that they can put more people onto. Maybe get it done with that. Yeah, we get this one cleaned up, see where we're at. I mean, dollars got outstanding right now, but it's at 3 or more. We even know what that.
So I made this assumption that you guys saw this. Did you see the letter from her on the 26th of June?
Thanks for what they was it.
The 26th of June, her name is Michelle Rinwald, I think, yeah, okay. Well, that is what it is. Anyway, back to the budget. So my idea of the budget was just to leave it, but we need to make some sort of change to accommodate. We're not increasing salaries, but we needed to increase to compensate for the salaries that. Help walk me through this again. What does that number need to be so we're not shorting him on his legal? On the Westlaw. And then part of it too, the special prosecutors and appeals under contractual. Okay, and then so that means we still pay for that, but it comes out of the version. And which is the way it's always been done. Is there a? And I assume there's some sort of oversight there. He sends the bill that goes through. Does it go through your office or does he just write himself a check?
He's submit the voucher for the dollar amount.
Okay,
And it goes to payroll.
goes through payroll. So is there if I remember what Kevin said, Scott Lloyd told him to list that as a budget item. But if we put it there, is there any more or less oversight on something? If it's under contractual versus diversion, then the diversion pot would just grow and what happens there? To that one.
Just get whatever expenses he can.
Okay, well, okay, so. Hundred and seven. Okay. Okay, so in my notes on county attorney, I have the employee, the salary staying the same. At 181. And then under the commodities, I have it exactly the same at 4410. And then under contractual, I got rid of the 25,000 special prosecutor and 3,100 summer help. Which took it down to 14,381. And I had in my figures here. For some reason, I had them at 199,959 for a budget. And on our list, we had 109. Do you guys remember doing anything different?
Most of them, very good. Which is like, what's that big guy? Those are the things that go, keep the box.
So, the 190 is inaccurate.
It would be the. They have to be done.
That's still tracking.
So we're at 190 or 187 or 260?
190. Well,
Okay, so we left it at 190 and that allows him. That allows him, I guess we put the appeals thing, I mean, that's just shifting it to a different pot. But that's not the tax, I guess, so that actually got it. But it already shows up here. And then, so we're asking him to pull 3,000 out of this capital improvement.
no, yeah. Like, not paying on it, it's $3,000.
Okay, so he stays with the 42. So what modifications to? And I'm sorry, but what modifications do we need to make? Is the 190, does that fulfill everything that we wanted, or is that number incorrect?
Okay, for about 2 months, or less than all.
Okay. And, okay, and the way. The way it was explained to me when Scott put this thing together, that we gave him that number and. And his assistant took the salaries out and then just back figured the contractual and the commodities, just to get to it, you know, that's what you did. Okay, then I heard it wrong. I'm sorry, my hands are starting to fly here too, trying to stay. Okay, so we need to actually take his budget and go the wrong direction. We need to account for his Westlaw research.
Well, if we go, well, kind of council would be, that's gonna be coming out of the commissioner budget. We give him 25,000 more.
Well, actually, I mean, I think the play here is we do nothing. And then he keeps on where he wants, or we do. And then we may have to make some sort of adjustment down, I don't know. If we don't have him do it,
So just need, what is the salary figuring off here? I'm looking at what was. Is the cost of living was not on to that 181, 186, right?
That is, that is the show upon. That announcement.
But 86, 280, right? Would be where you'd be. That would be just, that's what he would have been at. That's what he would have been at, 25.
That's his real number for the two. That's Marcy and.
That's Marcy and him 186. I mean, have a rate scale listed for Kevin. Like, I go there. That's really what we gotta go off of, what the wage scale says for him. With two positions,
84, 320.
84, 300.
Nine.
And Marcy.
He's got his COLA figured in there. Already.
Like 53, 200 somewhere. Right.
Not very much of full dog already.
So this cost of living stuff we were talking about, that's already reflected. Right.
And the one was in this year, the one that was last year, before, well, that was where the gap is going.
Get 177, 728. Yeah, 178, but it's 177, 728. What part of his contractual are we adding in or not? If you got 4410 and
Like, we're saying, on.
special prosecutor, that one we take.
Not just about the person.
Our contractual, which one was he gonna take out? Any of them?
Just the top two is what I had. That gave you a figure of 14,381.
So the special prosecutor and the
Appeals, that would go through conversion.
special prosecutor and Wheels will go through the first.
That's how he paid himself the last time. And I guess that's how he's been paying himself, yeah. But, okay, so that's the change we need to make. So I'm still, you guys are burning up the calculator on the wages, But the 181, 168, is that the number we use for wages? That's, because you kept, everybody comes up with something different.
That's what it was last, year, right? 91, 16.
I'm sorry. It gets to be a long day, so.
Take that 25,000 out of there, that's 194, 619. Or 619 is where we would be. Taking the summer office assist out of there.
That's what I had the top two. Summer office, summer help and the appeals.
191, 619.
And I come up with 199, 959, but we just must be using different numbers on salary. I've just been using the 181, 168, but I still can't process that either according to the pay scale. I mean, that should be pretty close and that both of those numbers should have the cost of living already included. Just taking on the whole thing.
Last year, we go 178. And the percent follow came in on top of that.
$199, $519, I think. 951.
About and then cost of living onto the.
That's the difference. I'm not doing anything with cost of living. I'm just using the number that's presented in the total line two for 2025 of 181, 168. I'm adding 4410 and then I subtract the 25,000 and the 3,100. And that's where I come up with a 14,381 in that category. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, thank you. One is the no raises, 5. What was it?
Well, I see.
Last year, 178 was approved, no matter the cost of living.
You're right. I got a math there. I've got a math there. Of $5,000. I come up with 140. 194.
94, 910.
933. Let me see.
I don't know what you're doing with it, 958.
And 181, 120.
Okay, well, that's
181,
it.
120. Plus your 4410. And then Schedule C, what was the total of it? I don't have.
9380.
9381, yeah, 194, 911. That was my math there. And it actually wasn't a math. I had let 5,000 in there for special prosecutor instead of removing the entire 20. So that was my. So, and I do come up with 194, 911. Which is the number you had.
Well, I had 110, 911, yeah.
I like that. Okay. Okay, so that adjustment goes in the wrong direction. But. So commodities goes up. Or excuse me, contractual. Goes up from 4410 to 9381. Right there, no. Yeah. Contractual changes to 9381. So we went the wrong direction. My next on the list is. Mr. Deeds, that terms using. 194, 911. No, but that accounts for all the true expenses, register of deeds, salaries.
What did you get up for that, now, yeah?
At the total, I had 194, 911. Because we had to increase the contractual. Just something happened there. I don't know what it was, but that's him not using any. Capital improvement funds either. It just stays the same. He's basically treading water. Right? All right, so the next on mine is register deeds. Other than salaries, didn't make any. 12. She asked for 116. Did we? I guess I don't see where I have any notes on her.
We just took her wages off that she asked for.
That's all we did.
I think we had rounded it. Well,
Hey. It was 112 when in actuality she asked for no raise. She asked for 114. So we're just assuming she'll dip into her. To capital improvement because she's got $12,000 sitting in there. Is that what we're doing?
we just took the rate down on hers, she left everything else that she asked for. She's not asking for.
Yeah. She doesn't really have much on there to go for. She gets her copier for $500 too. I know it's probably a different copier. All right, is that, so we're just leaving that the same at the. With the 112? Is that right? Yep. Okay,
So what increased it? Took our salary someday or? She was like 109 last year. She's barely making it.
at least
We may have used some of her, don't have my list of what we have.
all these salaries, or like her salary in particular. Since we kept it the same. This is what. Prior year actual. It's 90, current year estimated at 102. Well, we talked about this in the commissioner side, so I still don't really understand. That seems kind of misleading if you. I mean, did her salary actually go up from 98,190 in 2004, 24 to? The estimate is 102,517. But in reality, she's actually getting paid 107,472, right? Or is the estimate because they got $1,000 in there for overtime, is that? Well, if when I look at this, I think, well, gosh. She's getting a $4,000 raise and then there's a $5,000 raise there, but that's not necessarily the case. I wonder why it shows up like that. Because it looks like we gave everybody pay raises. And ourselves, looks like we gave ourselves a big one, actually gave ourselves a big pay cut and then gave us a pay raise. All right. There's numbers. Ages. That's where we come up to where we did. I see under dispatch, they have, there's $6,000 in there for training. So that's part of that. Do they need the 40 hours like every other officer?
They're required so many hours a year or.
Do we have any guidelines there that we need to? Where's that training at? Is that like specialized dispatch training
Yep, these have.
somewhere? And supplies, I mean,
A little bit there. They have to go out and search classes. To go to. had two of them that started training at the same time. One of them has surpassed him on his own. The other one's still struggling. Less than time, but may not make it. It's how those things like that happen. Or be, or two people at the same time. If some sell and some don't, you have to start on trying to send them all off. Pass the training.
So you're talking about the officers,
Yeah, officers, any of them. Just because you can do the training, maintenance, training, dispatcher, or it's when it hits the road. And all the calls come in. You can't run by chat. Yeah. Fall out. So why? Get scared.
Well, do we have notes on the sheriff? He presented sheriff office. He presented 1.137. We took 25,510 out. Come up with that 1.1112. Do we know where that came from? I mean, I assume that backs everybody's salary. So when I backed everybody's salary down, I come with. Yeah. Well, I had a lot smaller number there. I just don't know how I got there. If I take. And somebody would have did this math, I'm sure. When I take the wages. 708. Same as 2025.
Well, there's also gonna be pot, 50 cents cost of living that's not, we figured that out, probably all those wages. Just give them half of that budget. On most of them.
When he fills this budget sheet out though, is he, looks to me like he's writing 2025 down where that's actual, his is 77. The elected official was $70,720. And then so he wrote that down because that's what he's actually getting paid in 25. And he's asking for 71,760. Is that right? I mean, gosh, if there's wages in there that aren't factored or raises, that gets pretty messy. I don't know, this one's still complicated. I mean, the 1.112. I didn't, so on courthouse security here, did we have a way, this is under the sheriff's budget, office budget, page 7 of 8. And it just has the 4 security guards listed with 2026 wages. And the sheriff's with the wage increase. Did we back that down too? I don't remember. Does anybody remember? Does anybody have notes? And did you use that amount? Right. When I did the math, I had, I'm not a real good track record on math. My numbers are just different. Like I said before, the sheriff's office is something I didn't really feel qualified to look too hard into. But it's one of those spots where that's where a lot of money goes. I know on dispatch I had my numbers fairly close. We must have came up with a happy medium. They asked for 656. We took 11,488 off there. My change was kept the wages the same and no change on any other the commodities or the contractual. But I don't know how we came up with a different number. And it must just be wages.
Everyone's on that dispatch.
Dispatch, yeah. Yeah, gosh darn it. There's no.
Let's see, last year's mod, this was something.
And you got 2 extra, I guess, a new employee at $10,000. And plus they're adding in overtime, which I didn't account for, so plus 20. So I had wages of $396,080. But then I had a grand total of 635,480, which is different than the number we used. We used 645, so we just came up with something that was
We're not, yeah, it was the number and.
just a middle, okay.
I think you're right on that.
Well, anyway, we're not getting anywhere. Do we want to have, can the treasurer come down now? Possible. Get this out of the way. And if we take a high level of this, do we need to go in executive session to talk about? Yeah. We with her to talk about her employees. What's that there? floated that idea, and I heard it on Monday about changing office hours in the court. Would that help?
Well, the cost savings.
This is a way to justify having less staff. There's the cost saving. To try and have less people, less employees doing the same amount of work. Thinking maybe if we didn't have public, we weren't open to the public, I'd give them a day or in times during the day where they could just do their work without. Customers. That's what I mean, that's what it's after, so. That's another selling point of trying to do this with less people is if we changed our courthouse hours. And I think I sent that out in an email, you know, you can do it two ways, you'd be open 4 days a week for the courthouse is always open. But it'd be open to the public, the business offices would be open to the public 4 days a week. Or maybe limited, say they're open 9 to 3. Then that would give staff. Either one whole day a week to do their job without public interaction, or give them an hour in the morning and an hour. Close up shop. That'd just be another, I mean, we're not exactly. My observation is there's not a steady. I think the public could get used to the hours being limited. And I think it would be beneficial for the people working here to have more time in the office without people coming in. What do you think about that? And it's not anything we can really, as I understand when I talk to the K-Camp attorneys, I mean, we can't tell elected officials. Again, when they're open and when they're not. But we could. You know, we could kind of throw that out there.
And say, all beneficial if you're not in a revenue.
If you went to a 4-day-a-week policy, where would the savings be? I mean, 4-day a week, maybe that would help custodians. Because we wouldn't have near the traffic in here. And maybe that'd be a good catch up day.
Or all trying to get in building. Public coming. People do their tag or whatever.
That's what I mean. If you just went 4 days a week and said there's no really public can live here, maybe that would help you.
Friday, at the end of the month, you know, get people to agree with that, but I'm coming, saying in the end of the month, and that would be the thing you have to watch. The end of the month and on Friday, and say, we're gonna be talking. They'll go and come in and do the tags. And how that falls, it'll fall once in a while for me.
Are we closed on Friday or we closed on Wednesday?
Where he's saying if it happens to fall at the end of the month,
Whatever day it is, the issue.
yeah, then it doesn't work as well. But if the office was closed on Fridays, people would just have to accommodate it. That is it's just an
They
idea.
don't,
Yeah.
I just said they just. I just need them to them just.
It's definitely.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, we'll. Go on, next one under, essentially I had dispatched, you know, just, everything else just staying the same, the jail. Stays the same, that matches up with what I had. Janitor, I didn't. I mean, I had, but what we said was we just kind of shot for a figure in the middle. So that's the one we accept.
But we did a lot of them.
I.
Always costs going up like they. Don't want to really more than that, but dispatch. Senior stuff, it's gone from 42 to 47 to 65. Over the years. That actually going up that much, and then you get that much more stuff. And I suppose you don't think down what he said.
I mean, he would have no reason to be I just think it is. I think all that stuff just. Up. Well, we're at the janitor, so this is. I guess. Let's see. I'll make a motion that we go into executive session for 10 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel, privacy concern with. And. Because special meeting, then we'll skip. All right, let's roll on.
Remember that executive session and stuff, right?
It's on the agenda. Okay, that's a rule. That's fine. We'll keep it.
Special meeting and has to be.
All right. That's fair. Let's get down to. We've already done the courts. That's done. Rescue squad, I assume we just leave the same. You guys good there?
Their motor went out, the turbo went out in their truck
On their,
on the rescue boat.
that thing's not that old.
I don't know how old it is, they just happened on the last two runs that they did. Over. Getting the price to, their things now, they have a second out vehicle, it's just a Suburban. They piled as much in there as they can. To get,
And the courts we did.
and they have had. Notifications here lately, so. Some wrecks.
Let's go down to fair. It says fair premiums. I had, and this isn't a budget cut at all. We need to change that. Can we change the title of that to fair support? Because I mean, that's money that goes to, as I understand, goes to the fair board to put on the fair. It's not a premium to individual exhibitors. It's not like we're contributing checks to 4-H members. We're giving it to the fair board. Maybe you just change it to fair board. Is that
I think
fair?
that would be fair.
I think that's where, that's who the check goes to, right?
Or we can say something last week. Yeah, because.
Or we could call it fair support also if you wanted, one of the two. Well, what do you guys want it to say? I mean, if the money goes to the fair board, which is certainly does. About 100%. Then fair board would be just fine, but if it goes to,
Fair support makes it sound like we're supporting the fair amount of dollars, it's not going to strictly ribbons or this.
okay, change it to support then.
Where they need deemed best to use.
Okay, so we change it to support. It's
Thinking fair, but fair support is.
just as good. Okay,
Better.
we'll change it from premiums to support. All right, now here's industrial development. Now we can get rolling. We've hit a snag. And a lull in activity, but I anticipate. Big thing.
We're leaving that at the same then.
I'm leaving the money at the same money. Yeah, 10-5 on fair
Okay.
support. All right, and industrial development. everybody at once here. So then on Tuesday, when we have our meeting, if we're still talking about budget things, then we can go into executive session because it's a regular meeting. All right, so we have that.
Pardon.
It's not a really long night. Can we see if BJ would get on? Come down and talk to us on Tuesday? And as far as like the appraiser's office, that's directly through us. I mean, essentially, we do that, right? So, okay, all right. Okay, well, on the industrial development, we have it at $50,000. We took 5,000 off, it's high off to ask for 30. So I know this has been a point of contention. I'd like to see us give 5,000 to Horton industrial development and 5,000 to Hiawatha. And I had in my little plan here, which would change our commission budget, that we would set aside $40,000 for economic development, but it would have to come through us. If somebody actually had something going, you know, we would still have some money available, but maybe that doesn't work at, at this time to do something like that. I'd like to see that. I'm not saying that's a bad way to spend money, but instead of giving so much to just two cities, you know, we could have something that go through the commissions and have some money to spend if they needed it. But I'm not sure we need to ask for it this year because we're so far behind.
Yeah, I have no feelings with Horton, I haven't been. To go to the meeting. And sit there and learn what they're working, what they're striving.
Sure.
Many times that we've had opportunities for the interest to come here, but other towns get a better offer, better rebates, better money, less, tax things, but I mean, so there's like the one that's going in the whole city. But I can't think of the name of it right now. We were in the running down here too.
And it's potentially.
Yeah. All particular, we were in that running too. A lot of the things that they can't do is when they're working on these big projects, they can't let it know what areas they're looking.
Oh, sure.
Because I have never been to the Horton. Any of their meetings down.
I've been to one. I understand the cloak and dagger stuff with trying to get people to come in, but part of the attractiveness of Brown County would be if we could keep our darn levy low. And I guess I'd like to have, if it's the county taxpayers' money, and as soon as we hand it over to Effort, we have nothing to say about it, or Horton, same thing. We need to have some influence. If they had some big project, well, if their group can be trusted to be mums the word, I think we could be trusted too, and at least then we could determine if that's a good way to spend county tax dollar. But right now, I mean, we've kind of gotten away from it because we got so lost in some of these categories. I didn't feel like we could make changes. The goal was to cut, and I don't know that we've actually done it due to some unforced errors here. And if we made it smaller, it's $10,000, and it's just not adding up to anything. But I understand, when we had this budget meeting on Monday, if it shows up in force, I mean, they're there to, but we just got to be willing to say no. And I mean, I guess I don't know where this money's going to come from. Some of my logic is that the economic development is incredibly important to Hiawatha and citizens here by default Brown County. But Bill and I want to be members of that Kansas Natural Resources Coalition. And we just pay for it ourselves, and I think in how that, people do the same thing, I mean, that's, but I don't know if that's the right attitude, that was just my logic. Okay, so and I was also looking at, because it's all, everything is interconnected. I wanted to look at our neighborhood revitalization program, and I wanted to up that. And make that better, instead of 5 years and 75%, I was wanting to do a 5 year at 95% and then 5 years at 50. Stretch it to 10, trying to make that more attractive. Now, Mr. Lloyd says, well, that's a big expense. But is it? I mean, if it's money you never had. Is it, I mean, it does look, we take it in, we spend it. But if it's an enticement.
Yeah,
uh,
it's like 200,000.
Right. But is
Yeah,
it,
it became a point of talking to Batchester too, because they're at 500-some thousand dollars. And they're thinking about,
Nixon it?
yeah, cutting it off. Because they need the money that bad.
Well, can they, once you, they're talking about reneging on our deal, or
It's just nothing going forward, I don't,
I would think you'd have to honor the ones that.
I would think so.
But see, if I was a business looking to come to Brown County versus Atchison County, well, that's pretty simple. If you get, you're gonna spend some money, you get a big rebate. And I think I look at that, well, that's money we might never had anyway, so we look at it as an expense, but it is in the short term. But it's just a refund, it's a net zero. But then after 10 years, then it's expanded the tax base, and then we start to fight in a big way. What do you think?
I've been reading. Let's a little bit off, but about housing and how the people, some cities want to get rid of their bad housing and stuff, and maybe some of the stuff. I think necessarily always work like they think it is. So people that have bad housing will move someplace else and have more bad housing. And it's not necessarily a profitable thing, and then like these guys are wanting to build duplexes down here. How many people want to live in duplexes?
Well, in the duplex, $1,800 a month rent. If I heard that. Is that right?
build a new one.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Nobody wants, who wants
Well,
to,
that's because our housing market is still not much for housing, but not for people that are coming in that are gonna be business people in town. No place to meet that median.
but then
There's
some,
not- The low income might not be there either.
but then some of the regulations or whatever are they keeping people from coming here? Like the school that the licensing for doing repair work was higher here than it was in St. Joe.
In Hiawatha, it's possible. That's the thing too.
You know, are some of what the city's doing keeping people out? Or that just cause,
What's the city I want to spend on it? But we're getting down the rabbit hole here. So do you want to cut it or not?
well,
What do you want to cut it to?
I'll agree. Somewhere along there, they had a membership that was $5,000.
So
Then they turned around and said that you could pay more than that or something, but
So you've been down this road before, and the commission tried to do it, and then backed out. So, I mean, we're gonna catch some hell for it. Are you ready? Richard, what do you think?
We sure want to reduce it to 5,000 for each and keep another.
That was when I wrote this little cheat sheet, that was my initial thought, but if we're truly in this, and we are. You know, maybe we've already built that into our capital outlay in the commissioner's fund. You know, that's where I was looking for that. Is we would set aside some funding in the commissioners. So if an economic development group needed a little assist, we'd have it. You know, for a project that was advanced, you know, in the advanced stage.
right now, we have. Commissioner budget, out of that, budget, if you did something like that. but Don't know, Commissioner.
Just gonna have, it, you're gonna have, it, yeah. And maybe just say we can't make any promises, and that's real, guys, I mean, that doesn't buy us anything, that buys us a lot of what is. And, I mean, I think that's fair in this environment, and it save us $40,000. And say, talk to us next year when things are a little different.
So you're gonna put 40,000 up in the,
I'm not gonna do anything,
Just
I'm gonna
don't do
that's what I'd like to do, but I don't think we have that ability.
doesn't want. There's enough people in town that they could raise $50,000 if they really want it.
Right.
If there's like 20 people come in here, that's not a $1,000.
And it's a lot of money, I mean,
Yeah, but
but we're not spending our money, we're spending everybody else's money, so.
why are we taking it from somebody else?
But what I'm saying is we make this and we announce that tonight, you know, we're looking, I mean, that's, you gotta be prepared to defend it with, well, we're just gonna do what we're gonna do, but. I mean, economic development is what it's gonna take to get us out of this hole, this part of it, and we need it. But we're also in a part of the world, our population, Richard Chilling is right, the population's declining. That they're just, something's going on here that. Whatever we're doing is not working.
I'm pretty sure this will probably shut before midday.
Horton actually has, had like $90,000. They're trying to tear down homes. And they're rat holing money to take it on and try to get some of these derelict properties out. And that's what I'm aware of. So it won't sink them, but it does take a lot of their operating. But on the flip side, guys, with Horton, with what they're trying to do, we can work out a deal with C&D at the landfill to reduce some of that cost and maybe help them that way. And that doesn't really cost us anything. Well, we're gonna catch some heck heat for it. But again, it's a small thing, but it's 40,000. But
I mean, I know I've been in support of them before because I've seen what they've been working for. We're not working for anything, and we don't have a chance to get anything.
all we're saying is that Brown County can no longer, we just don't have the money to support something that we should have the money. Yeah, I mean, I think it's true. I think it's fair. It's not what I really want to do, because I mean, I'd love to think that we give somebody 25,000, they're gonna generate at least that or more in development, but I mean, I don't really have any way to define it. I know we read what they gave us and some of the things they're working on. And I understand that it takes money to attract people like that, but
Also, the one that's more the,
Revitalization deal?
yeah, but I mean, they're also running the revitalization for us. I mean, they're doing that, or we're trying to,
well, how are they running? That's a good question. It's a good
I
point.
mean, they're managing it. They fill out the paperwork and promote it, they promote it.
The appraisers do.
But economic development supports it.
We just asked, I asked for her opinion in the meeting, gave them more, her opinion, what should we do there, and we did a revitalization to make it more effective. And then she came back.
And I sure if you have time, but update like this, in the plan, the lights and with this and all that, if you could do that. Working on.
I don't think they have anything to do with it.
No, but we spent it the last time, but we used it, because like letters came out from them, the city, like, they'll do all of that for them.
Yeah, but in reality, all things do this whole,
Yeah.
we asked, I mean, my intention was to see, what would a better program look like for you, how would you design it? And that's what she did. She came up with, I think, 4 different options. I mean, that's another way we're playing ball, because in reality, the county, we're asking counties to subsidize people's improvement for a period of time. I mean, I think that's fairly aggressive, but I'm of the opinion we're gonna have this fight sometime. I say take it to 10 and split it 5 and 5, and again, we'll just see where the chips fall. And I can defend it if you want. But Bill, you're in agreement, Rich? I mean,
I've always been in support of them because I've just seen what they've done and they'll say, I've been to the meetings, their town.
Got a bigger base. Their district, nothing else, the biggest. And the voted for your district. That's no.
well, you tell me.
I voted before, and at one time, we did cut it out, but then when everybody showed back up, and everybody, well, not
And
everybody.
like I said, they were there on Monday, they'll be there tonight. And it's just part of it. If we don't have the money, we don't have the money. But if we did have the money, probably not a bad place to spend it. I don't know what other counties do for industrial development.
But in the past, I thought, well, if you got $50,000 and there's some 10 towns in the city, I'll just let it all turn away. You know, I don't think they're that interested in developing Willis or they're interested in this place.
Yeah.
I don't know. So who does support that? It's mostly the same people, it's the banking and the industrial people. Surely there's some of them businesses could come up with,
Well, they're already coming up with,
like, 5,000, but I mean, come up with, I think.
I don't know, man.
I mean, the businesses that join that, I mean, they're putting a lot of money into it too.
No, you're right. You're right.
But then the city doesn't currently support them anymore.
I don't know.
I mean, that's what that one brother, I think we said that. At 3 years ago, 2 years ago, they had 12,000 in there, but since then,
But doesn't Hiawatha City support economic development in other ways? You know, like this housing project, I understood the city spent some money on engineering or architect work or things like that.
and I think all their sewer system, they probably consider that like an industrial development.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. You're in favor?
No.
All right, let's cut it to 40 and see what happens.
And
Or cut it to 10, cut it by 40. And what if we just put that under the county commissioners and just had an economic development fund? Can you just do it that way?
Do it that one. On budget.
You know,
I'm not there, because we're already. But
if it's under,
well, when did that match program do it? Are they in the over there or not? I mean, there's other ways to raise money. Taking from taxes.
yeah. That just shows up on the general, if you moved it out of the general and put it under county commissioners, and it's a line item with us. That's just a shell game again. I gotta tell you, I waffle on that because I just don't know if it's the right thing to do. I think it's, you know, in principle, it is. But on the other side, if they actually do something that helps us, then that's where I waffle. But if they're just, there again, it's sort of, I mean, sort of like the ambulance. I just don't know what they're doing. I just gotta take them on faith and I guess I don't like that. But nothing's easy. If we don't fund industrial development at $40,000 or $50,000, does the world end? I mean, does that shut down, does that shut down HIDC? I mean, if we don't fund the Historical Society at 60,000, if we just fund them at 40, does that shut them down? You know, I mean, those are the questions that I just don't know. I'm of the opinion, if it's all right with everybody, I'm just kind of checked out. And we really didn't do too much. But it's 3 o'clock. I mean, do you have anything that we can do and actually make a difference on? Or we just need to go back and listen to everybody again and then come back on Monday. I mean, I'm feeling so discouraged. I mean, we're all friends here. I just really am. We can't do some of the stuff because we can't go to the executive session, and that's fine. Some of the road and bridge things, you know, we can talk about road and bridge. Maybe we do that. I mean, road and bridge, are we okay with? Do we have, you know, Rich had some ideas about 300,000. Maybe this is one. That's how we'll fill it. Not complicated because we're not talking about any people or. You had some ideas about going to a 4-year chip seal, which was gonna save 300 something.
That was what my picture was. The numbers may not be rock solid, you know.
Well-
All of it, estimate.
You know, my,
You know, we choose to look at our road and say, oh, well, this road don't have hardly any traffic, we can alternate that to the farther. I mean, you got a lot of 1 mile stretches that very little traffic on.
One thing, the other one was that some of those roads got blocked up because county didn't want to. I think that's just my opinion in the past. But
when we,
once you do it, it's
You
hard
can
to say
see
away.
fast, but this is the way it's meant every year when you go through this, when it comes down to it. There's no huge savings anywhere until you get to the 3 biggest budgets, and you know, there's just no.
but again, we're not looking for huge, we're just looking for what's right. You know, we didn't save much money, and in fact, you're right, because all we did was we moved one employee from here to here, and we didn't save a thing. But, you know, I still think there's some opportunities there, but road and bridge. I mean. We've got. We got 9 people on the payroll. We got one that's gonna retire. We've got some things that we'd like to do as far as structural changes. I still think, I mean, this is me, I think we skip a year of chip seal. I think we don't, this is one where it's taken a chance, but you skip a year, but you do just what I told the Scott Lloyd, but in the end, you're not saving any money either, because you're trying not to burn that cash up. You're still figuring we're gonna do 750,000 worth of road work and actual materials. And that's probably a real number if we concentrate on bad areas of road. As far as running that zipper, packing it, laying, will they put hot patching on stretches like that, or will they come and chip seal it? What would they do?
Hot patch. I don't know how you get part of the local oil.
Okay, so there you go.
I mean, without running, we don't use a heater on ours to go get the oil and heat it up ourselves, it comes in hot.
So if we go, and what if we said this road up by Morrill, the state line road, got those seams that are bad? What if we said, all right, let's go up there with that zipper and let's fix that? You think they could fix it by cutting those seams out and hot patching over them and making them smooth, or would that just make a bunch of more gentle bumps?
Be careful how you do it.
I think it'd be more of a normal line. Cleaning those cracks out there. And fill them as much as you can get sand and get, you know, a hopper that you can melt the tar in, fill them up. So they're sealed off, and the next time you chip it's sealed. Because your cracks is what deteriorates your road underneath time.
But if we, so I mean, it's 750 just goes so fast in material. You just, but if you weren't buying oil and you weren't buying aggregate, because we've got some of that stuff. I mean, the rock we'd have on hand, the little chips, but you know, there's plenty of ditch work that can be done. I'm sure there's plenty of tree work that can be done, plenty of signs that can be put up, plenty of bridges where they can clean, you know, the debris out from underneath it so that the water flows. I mean,
Still a lot of that.
and if we took chip seal off the skid, I'm thinking we're changing that. And it's gonna be a totally different environment there. Maybe you give them a year to get it done. Well, if we change to a county and road and bridge supervisor, it's gonna be totally new. And it would give whoever we put in charge there and the crew underneath them to get used to the new situation.
What if we, throw that out tonight? And get the response back, and get that out to the public. About no chip and seal, or get the response back.
Save our roads.
See if it's pros or cons to.
We can, let's mention, I guess we should, because road and bridges is one of those essential functions of government that needs to be taken care of, and if we don't do it. But
Usually takes us back to the road bridge and over. It is. We're still in the same boat. Haven't done anything.
well, if we don't chip seal, if we fix problem areas, fix the road up, and still keep that 850,000 in cash in the road and bridge, we're still at a point where next year we have to ask, because everybody else will want more money. We're gonna have to ask for 4 or 5 mills, but we're 14 mills behind. I mean, if I'm doing all this stuff, the math, and I'm trying to be objective, instead of bumping 9, we're gonna bump 4 or 5 each year for a few years. And in the end, if we still chip seal our entire road system like we were, we go to, we haven't done anything, but we should have improved. We should have improved by taking a year off of chip seal. If they don't deteriorate, go to pot. And if we get our crews focused on problem areas and spread them throughout the county, since you got all season to get this stuff taken care of, don't we end up with better roads? In the long run, with the only possible thing is if each road, because we'll go back to a 3-year chip seal spread. If in the 4 years, each one of those roads doesn't get touched. All right, because it'll happen for 4 years. Next year happens and so on down the line. The risk we run is that 1 year of deterioration to the roads is more than the money we spend. And I just honestly don't know. But we don't have the manpower, the crew power to take care of all of this trouble. The road at Sabetha went bad because it didn't have the right drainage. I mean, that's what I've been told.
That's probably most of it.
So if we can get and that doesn't cost us anything to fix things like that's just machinery, which we already own. It's manpower, which we're already paying. Oh,
I think it would be good to introduce that.
and okay, but then on the flip, when we do that, and I like it because it's fun to kind of dip your toe in the water, but I guess the people elected us to do what we think needs to be done. And if we listen to everybody's voices of yay or nay, then essentially, why don't we have a vote on everything, every decision we make? This is a big one. I mean, it's huge, but if we communicate to folks of the budget crunch we're in, we just don't feel like we have the money to continue to do this. Here's our plan. And it's not going to save us a huge enormous amount of money, but I think in the long run, it makes the roads better. But maybe do you guys agree with me in that assessment? If we would skip the chip seal, concentrate on fixing, ditching, springs, whatever you got in there, the road problems that need to be fixed that we don't have time to address. And then you start right back up with chip seal the following year. Do we end up with better or worse roads for being done?
I'm not sure then, like, your main road, but, I think there's better ways that we can use our money around there.
God.
Well, if we don't pick the seal, what dollar amount are we gonna take out of the road bridge? Well, take a dollar amount out of there. We have to cut that budget. But you have to cut that budget to bring your mills down, and we're going to bring them down by 4.5 mil. I mean, take 800,000 out of the budget, or what are we gonna do to?
Well, that's what I was trying to talk to Scott and explain that. In the end, you're only taking $500,000 out. That's all you're taking. That's all, because right now, but $500,000, if we take that out and we go with this, we're keeping the 850,000 in their account. And then aren't we still keeping the 700 and something odd in our general fund? The math works out. We would be building cash in road and bridge and the general. Because we're not spending 1.7, we're just gonna spend, say, 750. But the way the budget is structured, road and bridge was still spending the 850 out of cash, so you add the 750 plus the 850. And that gives you 1.6 million. And if we don't cut anything out of, if we don't do the chip seal, we were gonna spend 1.7. So 1.7 minus the 1.6, at the end of the year, they've done $750,000 worth of work to the roads and materials. Instead of chip seal, they still have $850,000 in their cash reserves.
Well, look at it this way. If I hadn't taken that $800,000 out last year and put it in my capital, whatever. You would have had your $1,500 or 16, not 1,500, 5 or whatever it was. And it wouldn't have looked like we were going downhill with that. In addition to that, we did take another 800,000 out.
But the reason.
Well, we
the reason-
took 800,000 out last year plus that 800, we put like 1,600. I mean, 1.6 million. What we had left over or whatever, for different places.
Right, because we weren't collecting enough money. Just across the county.
No, but there's that much left over at the end that we. Oh yeah, so that 800 that you went other places
Uh-huh.
was, with the 800 I put away. That was when you do the projects, but
But you still spend it.
I'm still gonna spend it, but
We still spend it, and so which means the county didn't collect enough money.
or we spent too much.
Both, yeah, or both. But the road and bridge stuff, I mean, just is what it is.
Cause we could have found that road up out there. And packed it back down and chip and seal it for. $50,000 miles, for a couple $100,000.
And we could, you know
And
what,
that's what we thought it was gonna cost us. When we applied for the grant.
but in hindsight, it is what it is. I mean, had we known then what we know now. But once they applied for that grant, I mean, we were stuck, right? I mean, you had to take it.
Not necessarily, but we did.
That's the way it was presented to me. If you get a grant and you don't take it, you're never get another one. I don't know, Bill.
That's what they tell you.
I don't know. I mean, it's high stakes poker, I
Get
guess.
that bridge, we rejected the first bid and it did come in quite a bit less, but it still cost us more than probably would cost us.
Well, guys, we ended up spending all day and we just don't get much done. We wore our clerk out. She's exhausted. I'm exhausted. We'll bring up what we got. We're gonna listen to more citizen concerns, and then Monday or Tuesday, there's just about zero chance. I mean, we're gonna have some other things to talk about. And we'll get the treasurer in and we'll be able to go in executive session and talk about some other things.
But I think one thing that changing the way the road departments are made, that might be something that. Could get into.
Yeah. All right, I mean, I guess if there's nothing else to come for us, we want to call for an adjournment? I guess we'll reconvene at 5:30 for the end meeting. I was gonna run over to Robinson Township and see their meeting for just a little bit, so I'll be gone and I'll come right back. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Nikki, thank you, really. Donnie, thank you. I don't